Hello, and welcome to the 2024-2025 school year. My name is Ryan Burks, and I'm the Athletic Director here at Illini Central Middle School and Illini Central High School. The purpose of this slideshow is to go over some of the rules and expectations for the upcoming school year as it relates to sports and activities. As you can see, my email address is listed below. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or concerns moving forward. There are various responsibilities that we as a school district have to provide our athletes as members of the IESA and IHSA. Our list of IHSA and IESA activities are listed on this slide. Here's a look at the agenda that we plan to cover throughout this slideshow. Performance enhancing drugs. The IHSA is allowed to test our high school athletes that are competing. This is a random drug test, and it can be required of us to test our student athletes at any time. The IHSA has created a list of banned substances that can be found on their school's website. If a student athlete is found to violate this policy through the random drug test, they will be subject to penalty through our school athletic code. For a complete list, please check out the IHSA website or for more information. Concussion management guidelines. Concussions are a big deal, both in the sports that have the most contact and in the sports that are considered non-contact. The IHSA has created guidelines, and these also apply to the IESA. We have a very specific policy that we must follow as a school, and as the athletic director, I kind of oversee the entire process, but this also is going to fall on all the coaches and assistant coaches that work with your student athletes. If a student athlete is suspected of sustaining a concussion or just a significant head injury in either a practice or a game, they shall be removed from participation immediately. If an athlete is removed from a game or practice, they are not allowed to re-enter the game without getting checked and cleared by a physician. This usually would require a trip to the doctor or to the emergency room, or we have to get specific clearance for that athlete to be able to participate. This is not up to the coach's discretion. Our coaches cannot allow any of our athletes to either practice or play in a game without that written clearance. So if your son or daughter has been suspected to have a concussion, they will definitely have to make a trip to see a doctor or physician to make sure we get that written clearance so they're allowed to participate once again. We have an athletic trainer here at Illini Central that comes every Tuesday, Thursday morning. His name is Steve Proctor, and he comes to us through the Springfield Clinic. His information is provided on this slide. There is a sign-up sheet in the office where students can sign up or coaches can sign their athletes up to see him when he is here. He will then pull your son or daughter out of class and speak with them. He provides general diagnosis, treatment. He gives stretches or exercises for our athletes to use to try to either get back on the field or prevent injury. He is a great guy. He is he sees a lot of our kids. A lot of our kids like to use him. If you have a son or daughter that is participating in an activity, I would encourage you to have them reach out to him. Set up a visit with him if they have some injuries or some pain or whatever. He does a great job. He is not someone that's going to tell your son or daughter that he cannot play. He works very closely with me. He keeps me updated on everything. Our other coaches can reach out to him to kind of get some feeling on what their athletes are going through. But again, that sign up sheet is in the office. He's here twice a week. He is a great resource, and I always encourage my basketball players especially to visit him when he's here. And he's works well with middle school kids as well. So if this is something that you didn't know we had, definitely start taking advantage of this opportunity during the 2024-2025 school year. Our activity code covers a lot of our rules. One of the key points is an activity code violation is either the use or possession of illegal non-prescription drugs or their lookalikes, drug paraphernalia, alcohol, tobacco, and tobacco products. Student athletes can also not be in attendance where any of this is taking place. If they are found to either be using or possessing or in attendance, that will be considered an activity code violation, and it will be something that we have to punish them for. It could lead to a suspension of half a year, full year. All that is outlined in the activity code. So when you are signing off on that you have read it, just know that your son or daughter must follow everything in the activity code. All right, we at Illini Central require certain things, as do the IESA and IHSA. So before a student can practice, they must have a physical on file. They must have the code and waiver signed, which is the sheet of paper that is in front of the office for each student to pick up and take home, and they have to sign it and you have to sign it as well. On that is also the steroid and concussion agreement that must be signed. And then there is a $50 one-time fee for this student activity fee. That doesn't matter if your student plays 4 sports. It's only a $50 one-time fee. That also needs to be paid before they can participate in games. We are going to make sure all our coaches know who has paid that and who has not. And that is going to be a major requirement this year, that they have to pay that before they can participate in a game. There was a big handbook change in regards to student participation in extracurricular activities. So before, it was required that a student had to be here the entire school day in order to participate in an activity that evening. That has now been changed to 11:30. So if a student can get to school by 11:30 and then stay for the remainder of the day, they can then participate in an activity that evening. There are obviously other circumstances where a student is at a doctor's visit all day, or a funeral. Those are extenuating circumstances that, as long as they reach out to myself or a member of the office staff, they can still be allowed to participate as long as they meet certain criteria. All right, eligibility. Eligibility is something that we tend to battle every year. Hopefully that we eventually get to a point where that's not the case. But all of our student athletes, both at the middle school and high school level, must be passing every class each week in order to be eligible. This is an IHSA requirement that we check eligibility, and then we must, as a district, we must not allow those that are ineligible to participate. So our grades are checked every Friday at noon, and that is when the report comes straight to me. And if a student is failing in class at that time, they will not be able to participate. It runs Monday to Sunday. So if a student is ineligible on Friday at noon, they would then still be able to play Friday night and Saturday, but the following Monday to Sunday is when they would have to sit out. This only applies to games. They can still practice at the high school level. At the middle school level, they can practice as long as they are not failing 2 classes. I encourage everyone check grades Wednesday night. Our coaches get a pre-eligibility sheet on Thursday, so they can then remind their athletes ahead of time. But please start getting in the habit of checking every Wednesday night and then reaching out to teachers before Friday morning. Okay? Our teachers are busy. They have a lot of students beyond just athletes, and it's not fair to them for your son or daughter to reach out and ask for them to grade stuff on Friday morning. So please be checking early, stay on top of those. That way we can keep all of our athletes competing each week, and we don't have to battle this We have some pretty small rosters, and losing one or two students can be pretty detrimental for some of our teams. Transportation. Students participating in extracurricular activities are expected to ride the school bus provided to all contests. After the game, students can be signed out and ride home with their parent or guardian. Unless I receive a note or Nancy receives a note here in the office that says the student can ride home with another student's parent. That is a letter that must be brought in the day of the game or before the game. It cannot be brought to the coach during the game, or there cannot be a phone call after the game. We need to know who your son or daughter is supposed to be going home with, and then that's who should be signing them out. Um, if you choose to sign out your son or daughter on the sign out sheet provided by the coaches, it is then up to your responsibility as to how they get home. And we're not going to require our coaches to go check the parking lot and see whose car they get in. From there, it's kind of on you if you have signed them out. There are times when conflicts arise, especially with our students missing practices or events due to family vacations or trips or appointments or that sort of thing. We leave this up to each coach to kind of set their expectations regarding this matter. If one program might require an athlete to miss a game, others might require miss having practice or do some conditioning or make up what was missed, that sort of thing. That is up to each coach. Each coach should have a parent meeting, and those guidelines should be established before the season. Uh, if there's a conflict, please reach out to the coach about this. If there's a conflict regarding other situations, parents, please reach out to the coach to set up a time to discuss the issue. We can have myself or a principal involved in the meeting as well if needed. But I would encourage to start by reaching out to the coach and seeing if this can be handled. Um, a conflict with a coach is not and should not ever be about playing time. That is something that each coach is not required to address, especially when it pertains to your son or daughter not playing and others playing. Um, I would encourage you to give each coach some time after games if you believe that there is something you would like to reach out to them. Typically, the 24-hour rule works, or you give them 24 hours after the game for them to calm down, you to calm down. Please do not ever approach a coach before a game, during a game, after the game. That is something that we just cannot have. Uh, I understand there will be times when there's disagreements, but please remember that our coaches are doing the best they can for not only your son or daughter, but for everyone on their team. And as an athletic director, I ask that you please support our coaches as best that you can. My hope is that you fully support our coaches, regardless of what's taking place in terms of wins or losses. It is getting harder and harder to find coaches. Our coaches work extremely hard. Our coaches care about your kids. I think that is one thing that if you asked your son or daughter, they would tell you that they love their coaches. Their coaches do what's right. They really try. And again, we have people that are passionate about what they do. They sacrifice time with their own families. They don't get paid a lot of money, but they're there to try to help your son or daughter both on the field and off the field. And I think we have some coaches that do a great job building relationships. I also ask that you be careful what you say about our coaches to your son or daughter because that can end up impacting their relationship. And that's something that we don't want. And that might not be your intention, but that could end up hurting a relationship that's already been established between a coach and a student athlete. If there are issues with a coach that you believe are not playing time related or um, about a specific thing, and you just have an issue with a coach in general, please reach out to me. Please, don't bombard the coach and get our coaches upset. Uh, reach out to me, then we can kind of start that discussion and go from there. Please don't attack our coaches before games, after games. Um, just please be mindful that our coaches also are busy. Most of them are teachers as well, so they have a lot of other things going on. When it comes to communication, all of our coaches will be required to use rooms or Remind to communicate with athletes or parents. I think most of our coaches switched to rooms last year. A lot of them found that athletes and parents weren't getting messages, so some might still be using Remind. But that is the way that everyone should be communicating. Okay? If there are games canceled, we will also get that published on our website, Facebook. We'll send out push notifications. Mr. Worley in class and Mr. Bunner, they do a great job keeping everybody up to date on what's going on. So please make sure you're following along on social media if possible. I am also teaching throughout the day, so some of our games might be canceled a little later than you would like. I promise that as soon as I know something about a game, I will share that information out. Athletes should be the ones that are reaching out to our coaches and letting them know if they're going to miss a practice or be late to a practice or that sort of thing. Please encourage all your athletes to do so. Just kind of makes them more responsible for their actions and that sort of thing. If you want to, verify that your son or daughter relayed that message, feel free to do so. But try to encourage your son or daughter to start conversations with the coach and have them, keep the communication lines open. If you want to stay up to date on all of our activities and games and changes and anything that might happen, please bookmark IlliniCentralCougar.org. That is the website that has all of our schedules. Any changes that I make on my end of things on Schedule Star will go straight to that website. You will see them right away in real time. There might be a delay between that and getting the info out on social media. So the best way is to stay on top of that website, and you'll see everything that's going on around here. All right, we will once again have Cougar Crazies. Our sign-up process is going to be a little different this year, but this is, again, open to all 6th through 12th grade students. It is a $20 one-time fee every year. Students will receive a Cougar Crazy shirt. They will receive free admission to all ICMS and ICHS athletic events. They'll be given a little card, and we'll keep track of who's a part of this. There's theme nights, other events that they can be a part of for joining this. We're going to have the registration/payment due before August 28th this year. I'm going to have signups in the cafeteria during lunch for middle school and high school, and they need to have their $20 with them at the time they sign up. So in the past, we've had students sign up and order a shirt and then never pay, and never receive their shirt. So we're just going to do it all at one time. So before they're able to get locked in, they need to bring in their $20. The IESA and IHSA are both promoting sportsmanship yet again. This kind of started last year with their big push. We've been asked to include this information in anything we put out. As an athletic director, I'm going to ask that, as fans, we set a good example for our students. We don't allow our students to show bad sportsmanship at all. And it helps us if the rest of our fans promote good sportsmanship as well. Officials are hard to find, and it's getting harder. They do a tough job. They don't make a lot of money, and we need to make sure that we're treating our officials with a ton of respect. There are big IESA and IHSA initiatives going on with sportsmanship. Both our fans, coaches, school, they can also issue fines, sanctions, if there's ejections and poor sportsmanship and things like that. So, please do what's right, sport a winning attitude. And that concludes this presentation. Your son or daughter should have brought home a sheet that needs to be signed and returned in order to fulfill the requirements to be eligible to participate in activities this year. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and go Cougars.